I'm gonna try to paint this thing till the end of my shift at 5 o'clock. Yes, this ridiculous thing that's the size of my face. No. Look at this. Damn it. So as you know, it like goes on top of the tank, right? But because I was kind of thinking of magnetizing it eventually, because it turns like that, and it would be a waste not to pose it, I kept it unglued. And because of that, it fell. Damn it. You know what? I can work with this. I can work with this. He's going to be that one Marine that kept on fighting and firing despite losing an arm on the battlefield. Maybe he got shot while he was on the top hatch right there. I'm missing the arm, by the way. I can't find it. So yes, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by my own stupidity, i.e. not gluing the damn turret, despite it being a good idea to maybe magnetize in the future. I will be painting it till the end of my shift at 5 o'clock. It is now 11 o'clock, and I have a few housekeeping things to do just to keep you guys up to date. Number one, this is new, just been added. Repair it as much as possible. So that means gluing some parts that have been removed. For example, this top hatch on the turret that goes in the main thing right there kind of snapped off. And then number two, attaching the Marine back. Number three, cleaning my palette. I gotta do that, can't use a dirty palette. Number four, this is the most important one. I haven't touched this thing in 2 years. This was released very early 2023, like January, I think, 2023. And I started painting it basically on release. But I haven't touched it since. And I'll get to I'll get to it in a bit as to why. But yes, because of that, there's a lot of dust on here. It's just been left in my basement. So I had to wipe it off because dust is not good for painting. It will get in the way. So I had to wipe that off. And yeah, then we can get started. Now this magnificent looking tank in front of you with moving sponsons, right? Here. Technically speaking, a moving turret. This actually moves a little bit up and down, but I may have to just cement that top part because it broke off when it fell. A Marine up top, right? This is the Atreus tank, released for the Horus Heresy line of figures by Games Workshop. It is a massive, massive tank, extremely popular. Currently one of the few tanks that's almost always out of stock, despite us restocking it over and over again. And it's a beautiful piece of work. One of the best tank models, I think, at least for the scale that I've ever seen. The detail is off the charts. It's insane. Say what you will about Games Workshop, man. They can make models. This is huge too as well. This is around 11 inches long, maybe 10 inches, and about 7 inches wide. It's crazy. And just for context scale, how big this would be in like real life, obviously it doesn't exist. A Space Marine, at least a firstborn, is 7.5 feet tall super soldier in armor. Yeah, that's a 7.5 feet tall Marine, and he looks that small in the commander's hatch. So you can just imagine how big this would be. So this is roughly around 156 scale. Housekeeping done. Now, it only took 20 minutes, but the important part is coming up, the painting aspect of it. I will be painting it in the Imperial Fist colors, black and yellow, baby, black and yellow, black and yellow. And the reason why it's already partially painted and fully built is because I abandoned this kit, unfortunately, when it was released. Not because I couldn't do it. I know I could do it. It's just that the yellow that I wanted was phased out already by Games Workshop, and the closest other yellow was in air paint form. I didn't have access to an airbrush. The paint that you saw already on the tank, that's like 7 to 10 layers of air paint brushed on. It was rough. Never attempt at home, please, for your own sanity. But I will be attempting it right now. But first, we need to test out the paint scheme. And how do we do that? By having a guinea pig, of course. This is the Marut from WizKids. He will be the guinea pig for today. He will serve for, serve well for our purposes. He has lots of edges. He, I believe, is mostly made of metal. It's a tank, so it's metal. And we will do the black and yellow color scheme on him. At least I'm going to try black and yellow, like this tank would be, because he's an Imperial Fist. So this is the fate of the Marut today. Bought him when he first came out 2 months ago-ish on our store. He was supposed to be my guinea pig at home. Didn't really pan out, but he will be used now. I will also be using a mix of my own supplies that I bought from the store, because I am also a customer. Like this. This is the chipping markers from the new Real Colors paint set. The markers, very nice. I haven't used them, but I heard good things. Plus a mix of paints that Sunward Hobbies has kindly provided. Thank you, Sunward Hobbies. So for this, I'm going to be using Abaddon Black, which I'm pretty sure dries matte. So I'm just going to thin that down slightly. And I'm going to be using Army Painter's Monster brush. Come on. There we go. And I'm just going to apply it liberally all over the Mini. Why black? Because the Mini is black, the tank. So, yeah. The Marut is almost completely dry. And why is it important to paint him black? Because the tank is black. And I will simulate how the yellow goes on the tank with a yellow paints and plus the black, so I need it. I will be using Imperial Fist yellow, Phalanx yellow, and Averland Sunset here on the right. So yeah, also business at the front, party in the back. It saves me time, all right? I don't have to paint the entire thing. And I will be using mediums to simulate painting it on the tank as well. The tank is such a big kit that it needs help with the drying part of it, so it prevents it from drying unevenly, helps it go longer way, dry slower as well, more play time, so it's great. And yeah, so speed paint medium from Army Painter for the contrast paint, and Lamian medium, which is just a standard glaze medium for the two normal paints. So doing this and experimenting made me realize, first of all, the obvious, how hard it is to go from black primer to yellow. It is borderline impossible. Well, not really. It's just rough. But number two made me realize that honestly, these three probably are better individually as a gradient rather than individually. So I will be base coating it with Averland Sunset, with then following up a glaze of contrast Imperial Fist. Finally, Phalanx yellow to bring back some sort of highlight. Hopefully that pans out. Now I will be painting the unpainted side first. I will then decide what to do with the painted one. It is very close to Averland, very close. So maybe I'll just leave it as is, maybe add one more coat to it, because it is kind of still translucent, but who knows. So for the base coating, I will be using this flat and big F002, the Atlas brush. This is Sable? Is this Sable? I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't use it that much. But yes, I will be painting using this. Big enough for a very big machine. So this has been mixed with Lamian medium, which is just glaze medium if you use Vallejo. And let's apply. So I just basically finished the first coating of the base paint, which is Averland Sunset. And I just realized that I guess I used the air version of Averland Sunset, because this side here, again, this side here looks exactly the same as the newly painted side. So I guess it's just the air version. Let's see the damage. No, none. Okay, good. And also number two, second observation, is actually the turret that just fell. It's great. It allowed me to do a perfectly good, not perfect, but perfectly good paint job, because I can just swing this around or even remove it. I have to skirt the edges, right? It's going to help me in the future as well with the gun barrels and such. So this is great. moving on to the second thin coat. So the second coating is done. Now obviously the tank isn't done. We will tie the yellow together later on, but for now we're going to move on to the next step, which I'm envisioning is the next step, is applying Corvus black. I kept saying Corax black in the original cut. Anyway, basically I'm going to be applying it on this part right here, and any other part that I deem needs black. I feel like it needs more black than yellow, or at least a more even kind of percentage. Close to 25-30% of the tank will be black. And now Corvus black isn't actually black, it's dark gray, very, very dark gray. So I'm going to be applying it here on this part right here, that part right there, which is still the original coating from 2 years ago. This back part right here, maybe even the commander's hatch right there, and a bunch of other places that needs the black, such as this under armor right here and that part right there. So black has been applied, and look at that. Look at the commander's hatch, nice. The back is nice, though I may think of extending the black like right here. It's a very common paint job online where they extend the black part. People really like the black, Corvus black anyway. So yeah, maybe I will, but in the meantime, the next step is actually cleaning up mistakes. Look at this. Unpainted. Not that part, this part right here. Yeah. Unpainted, or this part right here, you can still see the yellow. And we're just going to be touching up mistakes before we move on to the next step. Stuff like this, though this one is a less of a priority, and you'll eventually see why. And of course, when cleaning up mistakes, you bring back the original color. Now, I can't remember if I primed this because it's been 2.5 years. I may not have primed it. We're about to find out. Oh, I think I did. That or Averland Sunset with a 2-to-1 mix of a Lamian medium contrast. Not contrast. Just medium, yeah. Glaze medium. Works well in unpainted plastic, but I doubt it. Looks good so far. So yeah, correcting mistakes, you bring back the original color, and it should give you the results that you want. So just touch up anything and everything that needs touching up. Like this part right here that I accidentally touched and chipped. So that's getting touched up. While the paints from the touch-up is drying, which by the way took an eternity, took like 40 minutes from like, what is it, 210? Yeah, it took 40 minutes. I'm sorry. Who would have known that it would have taken a long time to do touch-ups on a massive, nearly 12-inch tank? Everyone could have known. What are you talking about, Paul? So next, we're essentially going to finish the yellow armor. It's a little risky, because if I make a mistake, and let's say, I don't know, I touch the yellow armor with a black Corvus black paint, or something else, then I'll have to redo that spot with the exact same process. But I'll just have to be careful, make no mistakes, right? Am I right? So the next step will be to glaze contrast Imperial Fist. And how do we do that? With the help of something called Speed Paint Medium. It will be 3 parts Speed Paint to 1 part Imperial Fist, and it will kind of tie the paints together. And since it's a contrast, it will go into the recesses, providing more definition. So there's the glaze, and just liberally apply. Hopefully this pans out to what I envision. Wow, look at this. Look at what happened when you glaze the Imperial Fist on top of Averland Sunset. It creates the authentic Imperial Fist 40K colors. Very nice. Very nice. Now, it's not finished, obviously. There's still 2 more things possibly to do. Technically 3, but 2 to really finish. First step, using a wash. Now, I'm going to be precisely applying the wash with Vallejo's new detail synthetic brush, the 5.0. And this will be used to apply onto the recesses but I will not be using Nuln Oil. I'm going to be using 1 part Abaddon Black and then 4 parts Lamian Medium to thin it out and provide some sort of definition, grunginess to those locations. And if I kind of overspill the panel lines a little bit, not to worry, because that's perfectly fine. I am going for a more kind of grim, dark, battle damaged look. There we go. All right, panel line pretty much done. Now, did I overdo it? Yeah, probably. It looks cell shaded kind of, but we're not done. Of course we're not. So next step is to reapply contrast Imperial Fist with 3 parts, where is it? Speed Paint Medium as a glaze again, but this time it's to just tie everything back together. To be honest with you, I think I made a mistake, not in the way I applied the panel line. I wanted it grungy, but in the order in which I applied it. I should apply the panel liner like the moment I applied the first initial coat of Everland Sunset, but who cares? We're here now. Can't turn back time. So we're going to be glazing it, and then we're going to be dry brushing. I'm just going to be applying this mostly on the surface. All right, it's been reapplied and it's looking better already. Now, what we need to do before the dry brushing extravaganza is to paint everything that's metallic. So for the gun barrels and the exhaust, we're going to be using Hammerhead Copper. For the tracks, we're going to be using Rune Fang Steel. This is going to be an arduous task, primarily because it's a tank. Everything is metallic. So we're going to be figuring out which ones are metallic, which ones, well, are still metallic, but different colors. So it's going to be a while. We're going to block this all, though. But before that, though, a little bit more housekeeping. All right, so the next step is to apply a wash. 2 washes, actually. First one would be on the tracks, and that's Agrax Earthshade. There's a brown wash. I'm going to be using a heavy brown wash to simulate the dirt and the mud that the tracks are kicking up and digging into. And then number 2 would be the same old mix from before. Actually, maybe I'll use Corvus Black instead of Abaddon Dark Gray. A little lighter of a wash for the rest of the metallics that's more up on the body of the tank. Everything else, if it's in the lower, we'll be using Agrax. Be careful of pooling. Might pool. Gravity is your worst enemy here. Finally, it's time. It's time to dry brush. So we're going to be doing the yellow armor first. We're going to be dry brushing him using Phalanx Yellow. Now, it's a little bit of a step up, right, in terms of the gradients from the base Averland to then Imperial Fist as a glaze, and then Phalanx. So it's going to be a light dry brush, just going to be the raised surfaces and the edges. For this, we're going to be using Vallejo's new XL dry brush. It's ridiculous, but this is a ridiculously big kit, so it's only fair. Now, I may come to regret this, but here we go. Okay. You know what? It's not bad. Look at that, the heavy dry brushing. I said I was gonna go light, but I went heavy the moment I started to like it. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Look at that. Now, I messed up right there. I didn't remove enough of the paint and it kind of splattered, but it's okay, you know, it's okay. We're gonna clean up after ourselves. We always do. I told you guys, clean up whenever you find a mistake when you get to it, right? So, but yeah, it looks great. It needs a bit more dry brushing right there, but otherwise, yeah, this is nice. Turning out well. Turning out well. I like it. All right. Despite the tank taking great form, it looks great so far. It's looking great. It is 4:58.